Ladies, I am so glad. This is Racine Reichard, personal financial strategist. They call me AKA the financial transition magician. And I am here today to just really pour my heart out to you and just share. And I'm one of those individuals that, hey, I'm full and I am who you see is what you get. Let's put it that way. And so as I was thinking of our talk today, I'm again very excited. I've been a little bit about me. I'm a personal financial coach, advisor, formerly an accountant, and I've been as an entrepreneur literally over 28 plus years. And I promise you, I'm 21. So, I'm one of those 21 and holding. But, as I started my career, I just realized a couple of things. And again, just talk from the heart, and I'm very, very transparent, because I feel like there are women, out there and, sister girls out there that, hey, probably have the same story or similar story as myself. And so I always believe that there's defining moments in our lives, okay? And so just kind of as a start, as a personal financial coach, trust and believe I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that I would be in, a great position, having been an entrepreneur. I haven't worked for anybody since 1994. And so it's a beautiful experience. Entrepreneurship is just a phenomenal opportunity. It is not one of the easiest, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I'm a serial entrepreneur and I have multiple businesses as well. And I'm a six-figure earner as well. So I am going to share with you how I got started and why. And again, it's about those defining moments. So I have a series called Fine, Fabulous, and Financially Free. And so that in and of itself is something that talks about how I began my journey. And so I was recently last week, I'm the person in my family, I'm the go-to for my dad. My mom is no longer, with us. And I've always wanted in my heart to have a family, be the go-to person, because on my mantelpiece, I don't have, uncles, grandfathers and great-grandfathers and great-grandmothers and great-grandparents that had money, okay? And I did not have that on my mantle, and of course wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. But that's not to say that any individuals out there that do, hey, that's great. But for me, it came from humble beginnings. My parents, didn't even have a high school diploma, or even a college degree. So I'm really one of two of their kids that got a college degree. And so I am really my ancestors' wildest dreams. But last week I was spending, some time with my dad. And so one of the things I always wanted to do is make sure whatever my dad wanted, he didn't have to want for anything, money. And I have brothers and sisters, but I'm the go-to. So one of the biggest things, it's the smallest things, is that I needed to make sure he had a haircut. And so I went and took him to a haircut and he was, balking, whatever. But just to see that face afterwards, I mean, I could just see him light up even more. But just to tell you, he was the reason I got started as a personal financial coach. And I had moved to a new elementary school. And literally, you know how they said money doesn't grow on trees? And I remember I was in Girl Scouts and we were going on our trip to Disney World. And I normally I get an allowance. And I asked my dad, I was like, hey, I need some extra money. So when we go on our trip, we're going to be gone for the weekend. I need some extra money. And so he immediately said, hey, I don't have it. Money does not grow on trees. And so, as a kid, your parents say, no, you don't ask again. So I remember literally leaving, going on that trip. I didn't ask for any more money. I just knew that whatever I had was what I was going to take. And I remember we were coming back and stopping for dinner. And I remember, oh my God, I probably only had about $2 or $3, literally. And I remember going through the line and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do once I get to that cash register. And for a kid, that trauma in and of itself was extremely hard for me. And so luckily, when I got up to the cash register, I literally had a good friend behind me, and she said, I'll take care of it. When I got home, though, my dad was like, why did you leave here? What happened? Did you have enough money? And I said, no. And he was like, why didn't you say anything? And I'm like, really, Dad? That's what I said in my head. So I realized then for me, and I'm sure, for a lot of women out here that are listening to my voice, you're saying I need to make sure that I never have to ask people for anything. That was me. Okay. I wanted to make sure that, hey, my financial journey is not dependent on not necessarily a man or whatever. And I have a great husband who's a very great partner, but I wanted to be able to be my own destiny, that I can chart my own course and not have money as an issue. For me, that started my what I consider my money trauma. Okay. And so fast forward, when I started my career as an accountant, went to a local school here in Atlanta, worked for the Harvard University of the South, worked for them for 4 or 5 years. And I realized even then, hey, we got paid once a month. And I thought, well, this is crazy. I had more month than money. It didn't make any sense. And I was living hand to mouth. And you all know the proverbial paying Peter to pay Paul. It was just that never ending circle that I had to really figure out what to do. So I had my sister, she said, I asked her, I said, who do you know? And she said, well, I'm not sure, but hey, let me introduce you to this financial advisor, and you and them can talk. And so when I sat down with that person, I said, this is simple concepts, simple things. Why isn't that I am farther ahead than I am now? And so all these questions came up, and I thought to myself, I'm an accountant. Accountants supposed to know how to deal with their money. But I realized accountants know how to count the beans, but they don't know how to make them grow. So what I've done is I diversified my career. And it's not to say you need to have a math background, because one of the two things that I am now doing in my career is empowering my community when it comes to financial education. That's one. Two, I am building what I call the Jane assassins of financial services. I am building some assassins that's going to help me deliver the message about what it means to educate our community. Because in school, they do not teach about money. That is not a course. Even in college, there is not a course that is giving you the practical. So I've learned as I carried through, because statistically, women, we're going to outlive men. 7 to 10 years, literally, they live past, we live 10 years longer than men. Over 65 years old, we have a higher life expectancy than the men in our families. So are the men that have a partnership with. So for that reason, we got to really do more savings, because we are now working. And as a result of us working, we're building families. So that means we take off time from work and or may not necessarily go back to work. So that means our retirement savings are shortened. So we don't have the luxury of large pensions, of large retirement 401ks. And that's unfortunate. And we're building up debt because now we're the caregivers of our families. We're using that to pay off, because we don't have enough credit card. We use credit cards because we don't have enough income. And so I'm empowering individuals in those two ways. Yeah, let me show you how to, learn more about your money so you can see where you are and move you from A to B. And then I'm even saying, hey, there are women out there who are really either career changing or who want to be more empowering in their communities. And just a few statistics. And, sometimes I don't like boring people with statistics, but I'm just going to keep it real with you. I as a Black female, I am one of 8 financial advisors in the country. One of 8 as a female. Now, when you talk about me being an African American female, okay, that significantly makes it down 1 out of 4, really 1 out of 3. I'm literally 1 out of 3. So 25% of us that are women and African American or are women of color is few and far between. And that's impactful because when I go into my communities, there is nobody that looks like me that is giving them the feedback that they need. And unfortunately, in some of these facilities and institutions that come into our community are not even thinking about teaching us about investing because they know that, hey, there's not that many they think that can invest or want to invest. For an example, my dad went to the bank one day and he was looking for some ways to put a large sum of money. And they told him, hey, you got to come back because we don't have anybody on hand to show you and to sit down with you and schedule an appointment. How crazy is that? So for me, the passion, and the emphasis that I have for making sure that my community, my family, I am changing my family tree. And just as an impactful, and I always, I'm here in my office. I am in a county in Atlanta that is the number 2 county for affluent African Americans. However, we are the number 1 county for foreclosures and bankruptcies. Isn't that kind of a, misnomer? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't register right. Well, what I found is, hey, we can make money, but what to do with it is the instructions we need, and giving us a game plan, taking us from A to B to get it done. You do not need a PhD in finance to know what I know. It is simple rules, things, again, that they didn't teach us in school. And I think it's never too late. I am really good when it comes to, I have a big group of women that are retiring now, and just seeing them blossom. I think the 60-year-old is the new 20. Okay, these women are phenomenal. They are either caregivers, their husbands, they're still partnering with their husbands, or their husbands are still alive, rather. Some of them have lost their husbands and they're just reigniting their new selves. And so seeing these women transition, it is the biggest pleasure to see them and get them where they need to be so they can enjoy life, because there is life after working 30, 40, 50 years. Hopefully it's not 50, There are some women who can retire at 40. That's one of the goals that I want to have. There's the millennials and the Gen X's and the Gen Z's. They're not thinking about staying in a job until they're 70, 80 years old. Okay, it is not happening. Okay, so you millennials out there, I hear you. It is madness. Yes, you say, and I agree with you. And just to know that they're thinking of increasing the age for retirement from age 67 to 73. Okay, yeah, we're, living longer and people are working more. That is not the idea. That's not the idea, to stay in a job forever. I want to be able to enjoy, or to help you all enjoy your years of life, so that you can travel, to the places that you want to travel, that you can spend time with your kids and grandkids, and really enjoy time with them, and not just sitting at home, and not as we did in the South when we were growing up. We would take the vacation going from my grandmother's house an hour and a half away, and we would pack those lunches in aluminum foil. And literally, we would not be stopping at McDonald's or anywhere else, or KFC. My mom packed us a lunch to go, and my grandmother, when we got there, packed us a lunch to come home with, or dinner. And so those things you're thinking that's the life. We're literally getting in the car going away from home. But think about the travel away out of the country, international travel. There are places that, hey, that are so phenomenal. So in and of itself, is just the idea of where I am in my life, coming from, what I consider a defining moment, sharing, and being there. My parents, yeah, did the best that they could, but that is not, I am just an extension and taking where they left off to build from there. I am definitely wanted to be, the millionaire and billionaire in my family, because that's unheard of. It for them, they can't fathom. I was explaining to my dad when I made my first 100,000 plus, and I was trying to explain that to him. And this is not to brag at all. This is just saying my life just started. 100,000 or whatever is not a lot of money in the scheme of things, because I want to be able to save, 6 and 7 figures, because I know that there are things I want to do in my community. I know that I want to transfer wealth. And I literally want to make sure that, hey, I am the nieces and nephews and the kids behind me, that they will be able to move forward and take over where I left off. I believe in legacy. I believe in making sure, that, hey, I am building something that, hey, when I leave here, I am literally going to, see the rim. When I go to the gates of heaven and look back, I will say, job well done. That's what I want to have been said. And so one of the things, as I said, I'm in my office and I have this big portrait that of a oak tree of our family homestead in Alabama. And I took this picture because when I leave out, behind me is the cemetery of all of my family, all of the individuals before me, my grandfather, great grandfather, great great grandfather, aunts, cousins, and when I go out, getting ready to leave, behind me are those graves, or what I call the ancestry. But before me is this big oak tree, just if I could only describe, is ancient, just beautiful. So I took a picture of it, and I was reminded of the individuals that gave that land to my father and grandfathers and great grandfathers to use for our family. And so I found this this poem that says, one has to come to the realization that as I plant trees, that I will never get to sit under them. If you hear me, if that affected your soul, I promise you that when I look at that tree, I know that behind me are my ancestors that says, hey, before you is what we are pushing for you to build a business, to build a legacy, to do the things that, hey, because you are your ancestors' wildest dreams. There's so much that, hey, you in and of itself are going to be able to really do for the generations to come. And we're proud of you. I feel that in my spirit. So as I leave you all today, I hope that, hey, my words have affected your soul. I hope that, hey, whatever I can be of assistance to you, please reach out to me, because our community is closer and fit for us to do the things that we need to do. We love you. I enjoyed spending this time with you, and I look forward to a great session. Have an awesome, awesome day.
Man, Racine, you are, sis, a warm blanket and firewood crackling in the fireplace. Like, you cousin. Like, you home. You
Thank
home.
you. Thank you. I was sitting there listening. I was like, oh, Lord Jesus, don't let me start crying. Please don't let me start. I was like, I can't be no baby today. I got to be strong today.
Ooh. One of
But
three
yeah,
though, sis. One of
yeah,
three.
one of three, one of three. Isn't that amazing? And we need more. And I'm building
What?
more women. I call them Jane Wicks. You
Yeah,
know. So
yeah.
yeah, building more. You know, building
Oh,
more.
okay. Like, okay. I'm gonna show you these questions on the stage, Racine. But
Okay.
I thank you. I thank you because we're not deficient at all. It's just nobody's putting it in terms we understand. But you do, sis.
Mhm.
You cousin.
Thank
Like you do.
you.
You do.
Yeah.
I am going to show Andrea's question, and she asks, "What advice do you have for those who want to work in the financial industry, specifically through the entrepreneur lens or lenses?"
Oh, that's an awesome question. We need more sisters.
Hmm.
It's and I say sisters, women of color. We need more. Get licensed and certified. It is not hard. You
Hmm.
you don't have to go back to school for years. All right.
Hmm.
And it can take up to 60 days to get fully to 90 days fully licensed. Definitely hit me and I'll show you how to do that because we have a system in place to get you licensed and certified because now you have the tools. Not only can you learn as you go, but you can use those tools. And most financial advisors are self-employed, and it's a growing industry and career. 6 figures and beyond. You
Oh,
know, and you learn a lot, and just especially if you are community minded, it really gives you a good sense of being. It really does. Yeah.
that's shame. And there's a good follow-up question to this, and you kind of touched on this, Racine, but if you can
Mhm.
unpack it a little more, Andrea asks what training, certificates, or education is required to be a legit financial advisor? Keyword
Yeah.
legit. I love that.
I like legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am like a doctor. I literally have to take exams and tests to do what I do. And so, with that said, even individuals who go to school for finance, etc., literally, that's a great stepping stone. That's a great start. But they'll actually have to come out and get a license
Right.
to, become a financial advisor. And like I said, it doesn't take long. I am even working on always learning and building on what I know. And I'm still getting more certifications. Education is 24/7. So that's the one great
Okay.
thing is, background accounting and tax prep and tax consulting. That's, things change so much with the IRS. You all know that, and tax code.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
getting licensed and certified is not hard at all. You don't have to go back to school for 4 years to do that. Good question,
Oh,
though. Good question.
good. Thank you for demystifying the process for folks.
Mhm, mhm.
And then another one, this is from Auntie Yvonne. She asks the origin of your name, please.
Oh, awesome. It is French and it means root.
Ooh,
And I love it. And my dad thought I was going to be the firstborn son. His name is Ray. Fooled them. But my mom had a best friend named Racine. And I looked it up, and it's French for root. And it fits me perfect because I'm very grounded. Fits me
yeah.
perfectly. Very grounded. Good question. Good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. All right, y'all. I don't see anything else in the Q&A or hands raised. You got 30 seconds to hit it, okay? This was the last session of the day. Racine is here. She is one of three. Like, sit in the gravity of that and know the opportunity that exists here. Take
Mm-hmm.
up space because the way you move in here, I promise you, will dictate the way you move out there. Um,
Gotcha.
Racine, I want to say, and I asked this question too, but I will say, like, we are few and far between. I walked away from finance. I don't really do finance today outside of consulting fintechs, right? To
Mm-hmm.
fund the business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, like structuring big loans, right? $10 billion. My biggest merger was $110 billion, right? And I never, not one time, ever worked with a black woman. Like not one black woman knew that I ever came in contact with around the entire world. Did business in London, never ever worked with a
Mm-hmm.
black woman, and of course,
Mm-hmm.
never paid money to a black woman, not a black business.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right, like we're not in these rooms, and I'm not even using the finance skills anymore, right? Not for
Mm-hmm.
Blaze. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
question to you, and because I'm curious, like, in your career, because you've been in the game for a minute, like, have you ever came across other people who look like you, specifically Black women? I was only in the game for 10 years before I branched out into entrepreneurship, but like, are you seeing any increases in us in the room, or is it the same as when you started, whenever you did start?
That's a good question. I'm seeing increases. Excuse me, something's in my eye, but I am seeing some increases. It's a great thing. You know, in our business, there's some attrition as well. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not a easy business. It's not a hard business. It's a simple business. Okay. And so, yeah, I'm seeing a lot more. I'm seeing a lot more millionaire women, multi-millionaire women in our business, you know, that look like us, but it's only a small group of us that are in that position. And so it's about, cash flowing, you know, 6 figures or more, but it's also that saving part. And that's the big part. So there's some women who are in the industry, you would never know that they were millionaires, etc. You know, because that activity. But I see probably a good handful, you know, a good handful. I have great mentors, you know, I have great men, African-American men, you know, which is even phenomenal as well, because that's another shortage as well, you know, outside of us. But I'm in a good environment, and I've searched that out too.
That's a blessing. And do you see any patterns in like the industry that the women who are millionaires, like, are they in a specific industry typically, like, you know, like any patterns that any of us can follow to just be in that same position?
Well, as far as in finance or in general?
In general, like when you talk about these millionaires, these a handful of Black women millionaires, what are the patterns?
A lot of them were self-employed or had businesses. They were self-made.
That's so reassuring.
Yeah. 89, I'll say 90% of them came from business ownership or business building.
Good.
Okay. Not so much the transfer of wealth generationally. Okay.
That's good.
So that is key. You know, that's where I think the biggest amount of that money is going to be made through, you know, having businesses and entrepreneurship. So I'll say a good 90 to 95% of them are specifically, you know, from entrepreneurship and business owners.
That's so reassuring. Okay, beautiful. And I'm going to bring the last question to the stage, Racine. Thank you so much for this time and the talk. So rich. This is from Christina King, and she asks, this is a serious question. How does one own finance when they're terrible at math?
It's called a calculator. Don't let that be your hindrance. Okay. I used to think I was bad at math, but that's the one subject I loved in school, math. But it's called a calculator. Half the time, you know, we were talking about AI software, etc. yesterday. There are computer programs that help me analyze the data. Of course, I'm using it to help, you know, look at you as an individual when I'm making suggestions, etc. So don't let math be your issue, please. It's called calculator. You know, I'll help you understand the numbers and where they fit in. But the biggest part of the tool that I use is here and the calculator. I promise you, and reasoning.
That's reasoning. That's good. It's just leaning into the tools, because I agree with you, Racing. I think because of our, and we said this a lot, right? But because of our money trauma, we don't even start a thing. Like I think a lot of us, right? If we keep it a buck, we don't have to admit it in the chat. But a lot of us during hard times, like, we don't even open the bank account. We know we need to. We need to look at the mobile checking account to see what's going on, but we don't, because, you know, like you know, you actually need to see how much is really left before we swipe the card. But like, because of the feelings in our body, we don't even look. And it's the same with a calculator. It's the same with QuickBooks. It's the same with Mint. It's the same with all these tools. Like, it's our trauma that holds us up from looking at it, right? Like, it's literally right there. And it's literally a click of the button, but it's just like that mobile checking account. It's just a login, but we just like, I just rather not know. So Raven called it shame. Super dope. Well, anything you want to leave us?
Energy. Money is energy, ladies, you know, and it has come to the last 10 years that I understood is money trauma for myself. because even I still have to check Racine and say, hey, there are certain things that I want to get done, and I got a timeline that I want to get them done. But I'll say, oh, I don't have it now. But I have to stop saying I don't have it now. Just say the money is circulating. You
Come
know,
on now.
it is truly. I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to Racine. You know,
Okay.
I'm talking to Racine. So definitely, you know, start with getting the information. It is not difficult, but there are a lot of people Googling a lot of things. Yeah, get the information, but then you got to use that information and put it into place and get a personalized plan for you. Because what's good
Yeah.
for Casey or Racine is not necessarily good for you or the same plan, you know, and that's where we kind of step in as advisors. We tune a plan specifically for you and your family, not just for everybody else. You know,
That's good. And I want to acknowledge what Christina said in the chat as a follow-up. And Christina, I actually think it's absolutely beautiful that you are being so vulnerable. Like this is 90% of the battle, vulnerability. Christina says math shames me. Add anything to this response to that, Racine. But I would actually say, Christina, that is actually a good sign that you need to lean into community. So for me on speed dial, before a lot of people is my therapist, because I struggle with mental illness. Okay. And so for me, I don't have the proper tools. I don't know how to use the proper tools. I don't have enough reps in it and history in it. Right. Like it is hard for me to articulate the way that I feel. Right. And so knowing that I don't ball up in a corner anymore and just try to struggle my way through it, I have my therapist on speed dial, and she has been right since 2016. Right, and we're in and out of those things, right? But there are other things, right? There are feelings that I need to navigate, and so there's this one person on my speed dial that I know I can call and snot and cry, and if 3 words come out or 30, like they are that safe space and they help me process. I don't know how they do it, because I don't know. I damn sure don't know how to articulate the way I feel, but they do it, right? And so I would say with this money thing, right? Like lean into community. It don't have to be 3 people. It can be one person on speed dial, right? But where y'all have real conversations, like it could be somebody from work. I'm so serious. Like this is very disruptive. I'm so serious. Like how much do people really make? It could be the HR person. Like if they tell you how much your position actually commands, right? Even if it's uncomfortable in the beginning, like it changes everything for you. Or talking with family members, right? Like how much does the mortgage cost? What does that equal in monthly income? How are you paying for it? Like lean into vulnerability. All it takes is one, right? But like start having those conversations and let them hold your hand through it, right? You don't have to navigate it by yourself, because there's so many things I don't navigate by myself. I have a speed dial list of about 7 folks for all of the things that I won't even call it deficient, but I struggle, I suffer with the side effects of something around, right? But anything you would say to that too, where she says, money, I forgot how she said it, but money is a struggle for her, I think she said.
It's the math.
Math shames me. Math shames me.
Yeah. Don't take that personal. That's everybody has little things that are uncomfortable around them, but that is not. It's basic math, really. It's not you going doing ratios and all that. You don't have to deal with that. And even if you did, somebody like myself can break it down to you to keep it really simple. And it really is sometimes when we go into environments, they literally make things sound so difficult that it does make us, scared or fall away from it. So you'll be okay. We got you, sis. We got you. And Casey, adding to what you said is great. Having a Fab Five list of the people in your circle. I too have a therapist. I get that. Have an estate planner, have an accountant, have your financial advisor, and just have somebody who that if you need to just have a conversation with, that they will tell you the truth. They are independent of you and your family, your friends, but they are a friend. I call it a Fab Five list. Have that in your circle, and that really will take the scare or the shame from that whole situation for me. I promise you. But you're going to be okay. We're going to take that out your vocabulary.
I say we. I love the we's, Racine. Y'all not alone. So good. If y'all have if they have follow-ups, because this is the last time. Okay, we'll hear from racing in this way. Because money is so important, tomorrow, Racing, myself, and Felicia are actually going to have a panel discussion called Beating the Recession. Beating the Recession. All three of us are experts in finance, okay? Which is powerful, right? Because we just don't see that a lot. But this is the last Q&A opportunity. Racine, what's the best way for folks to reach out to you if they have follow-up questions or they want you to hold their hand, or recommendations for estate planners, accountants, etc.?
Absolutely. And definitely go to my website, Racine, www.racinereichard.com. Also, info@racinereichard.com. My office number, I have a toll-free because I know people are from different places, 866-841-9496. And I am on Instagram as well as LinkedIn, and it's Racine_Reichard on both.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. I love you so much. Thank you for just being who you are, sis. Keep going, okay?
Casey, thank you for allowing, I don't know if anybody has said it, I may have missed it, but putting this platform, this is phenomenal. I learned a lot myself in these last 4 days. So kudos to you, sis.
Thank you, sis.
I got to get you that Superwoman, the black Superwoman shirt. I got that coming to you, okay?
All right, Mama. I appreciate you so much. It's really y'all, but I appreciate you, sis. I appreciate you. Love you so much.
All right. You're welcome.
Ashe. All right, beautiful, y'all. I'm going to bring Toya up to close us out. We are at the end of day 4, okay? We're at the end of day 4. I'm trying to be careful with my words. I know this is touchy. We're at the end of day 4, and tomorrow it's done, okay? Tomorrow is done. Tomorrow is done. So y'all just do with that what you will, whatever you need to get, okay? To close this out on a high note, on a well connected note, please do that. And before Toya closes us out, or Toya, you can do this. You wanna announce the leaderboard, Toya? You wanna shout out the people who are in the top 15?
Okay, let's do it. Okay, y'all ready? The top 15 in the leaderboard. Okay, I'm gonna go from bottom to top this time.
Hey.
So yeah, we're gonna start with at the number 15 spot. We have Coach Michelle Manning. Clap it up for Coach Michelle. At 14, we got Karen Moore. 13, we got Auntie Yvonne holding it down at number 13 spot. Number 12, we have Nicole Player. Number 11, Tatiana Allen. Number 10, Crystal Mordyke. Number 9, Coach UM. Number 8, Ahira Smith. That's my cousin. Number 7, Amber Hurt. Number 6, Crystal Paulin. All right, let's do it. Let's do it big for the top 5, because I see y'all, and I see some people who crawled up in that top 5 spot too. So they coming for that number 1 spot. At number 5, we have Christina King. Number 4, we got my birthday twin, Winnie Quick. Shout out to Winnie. Number 3, Alexis Miller. Number 2, Dana Stansel, and China is holding it down. She's almost at 10,000 points, y'all. She's not playing no games. So we got one more day, like Casey said, and after that, the summit is over. But there's still time. There's still time to catch up and sneak in the top 15. People on the leaderboard will be receiving some prizes, and that's always fun. That's always exciting. So make sure you show up tomorrow as well for our last and final day of the summit. And I hope everyone has been enjoying it so far. I know you have. So we hope to see you back tomorrow.
Ashe. All right, y'all. We out. That's it. Have fun. Be in the lounge. Some folks have been setting it up. I think some folks are going right now. But bye.